I got a question the other day asking how I soften my edges, and I'm in the middle of painting this one today, and I'm right about at that point, so I thought I would take a short video and talk you through it. Okay, here is obviously the still life and the painting. When I started painting in college, I used to paint very almost photorealistic. I would go for everything perfectly as I saw it. My teachers encouraged me to loosen up some. So then I went to the other side of the spectrum to where I'm, loosened up this much, which is good because you can always tighten up, but it's really hard to go from photorealistic and just loosen up and, be more free with your brush strokes and not so precise. So I get to this point and I'm not softening as I go. And I know a lot of artists, some artists that I follow soften as they go and they're watching their edges, and I kind of do that, but as far as softening goes, I do that all at once in stages, but I don't do it exactly as I go, and there's no right or wrong. This is just how I end up working. So these are my softening brushes. I have several of them. I actually got them from Rosemary and Company. Those are the brushes that I love right now, and I probably love them for the rest of my life because they're amazing. But these are the ones I bought. I was just trying them out and I didn't care for them for painting, but now I use them to soften, and I don't know if they're meant for softening. These are their Ebony series. And so what I do, I make sure they're dry, because if they're wet, then the bristles kind of separate and you don't get a nice soft stroke. And so I don't go softening everything. I'm looking at my subject to see what needs to be softened. And this right here is definitely softened. So it's dry and I have my paper towel here and I will just drag it through. And every stroke, I wipe it on my paper towel. And I'm careful not to over soften. But this right here, this is pretty soft in here. And then occasionally near the end, if I have a highlight that I like, or a light area like this here, I might just kind of drag it through a little bit. In some areas, you don't want this really long, perfect straight line. You want to kind of break it up just a little bit. So I might drag it, one way or another. And if I do it too much, then I'll just put the paint right back in there. As things turn away, they will soften naturally. You're going to see that if you're looking for it. So to give a little realism, I just kind of drag it through, and every time I'm pulling my brush away, you're not seeing it, but I'm wiping my paper towel because I'm going into different areas that have different colors and values. This right here is definitely where I want to soften. This edge here, it's like a perfect edge between the background and the flower. It's where the flower is turning away and it's going away from you. And it's also not an important part. You don't necessarily want your eye to go there. So I'm going to soften that and let it just kind of fade away and not be as important. Same here and same in the back of the flower here and here. I'm going to look for those places, and of course I'm not seeing it that way because as soon as you look at the flower in that location, it's going to be very clear. But I want to guide the eye. I want your eye to be here and here, not necessarily to the back of the flower. Of course you might look there, but I don't want all these things to fight for your attention. Some of these things are things I would soften near the end of the painting, but just to give you an idea. Sometimes I will also use my bristle brushes if I really want texture and not just softening. I might come in here. These are not as important, and so these little flowers are going to stay very loose. And so I will just kind of drag. Oh, and there's my dog saving me from the mailman, probably. So I'll shut the door. Hey, this is real life. And so I, might drag that through a little bit. I also might use my paper towel if I really want, around the edges. And these leaves are kind of there, but I don't want too much detail. I might drag my paper towel through, just kind of add that fun texture to it. I'm sure I had other things to say, but now I'm distracted by my barking dog. Oh, the softening is important because your eye naturally goes to where there's high contrast and sharp edges. So you want to keep your sharp edges where you want your viewer to look, and keep your soft edges around where it's not as important. And I really like this leaf. I might keep it a little more detailed, but this one I might allow it to be a little more subdued. And for me, with painting and guiding the eye, say this is the main flower, I have to make sure that these flowers don't get more attention, so that they're under in hierarchy. So this flower gets the hardest edges, the highest contrast, and these guys are just kind of there to support and to fill in a little bit. But I'm careful to make sure that I'm not giving these little decorative flowers more, that they don't get more attention than these main two roses. And also that keeps in the way that I want my paintings to be. I want them to have some movement, some spontaneity, some life. And I really like, adding these brush strokes in, because it just kind of, it feels like there's life with it. There's movement. And I want to keep that there. I want to keep it looking like I just kind of painted it and I had a good time, and I didn't labor over it too much, and maybe make it look like it was really easy to do. So I hope that answers your question about softening edges. Also, I was thinking too, I use my softening brushes to cut down on glare. Sometimes if I do a stroke that goes along the side, it creates a glare when the light comes down on it. And so I will just take my brush and just drag down really carefully, not so that I'm smoothing anything down, but just to cut down on the top of the paint so that the streaks are not going across, they're going down. So I had forgotten to mention that. That's something I use my softening brushes for also. So thank you for the question, and thank you for watching. The comments and the likes and all that have been really encouraging. It's really nice to wake up to that, and that it's out there. And I hope I'm encouraging you all to either start painting or just be interested in it more, or to get better at what you're already doing. And so I'll see you on Instagram and Facebook and my blog, and we're like a fourth of the way through, and my mind is a little bit boggled realizing how much more I have to paint. So this is such a marathon, but hopefully I can get these out a little faster than I have been. This week has been a little different for me. So keep watching and ask me your questions. I'll see you later. Bye.